What's up, guys? HockeyTikTockey is back with another video. Today, I am talking about the Calgary Flames and their fourth line. Because preseason is still continuing on. It's almost coming to an end. I think we only got about a week left of preseason action exhibition games. And finally, we're starting to kind of get a look of what the final roster creation is going to look like for the Flames. And they played, I think, last night. It was another exhibition game, another preseason game versus Seattle, and performed well again. So the Flames have had a really great preseason so far, which has been really nice to see, because I think we're getting a chance to kind of see some of the players that are kind of on the bubble. They're kind of on the edge of whether or not they deserve to make full-time NHL spots this year or not. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about in today's episode of this little podcast show. So yeah, we've got, okay, so I'm gonna go over the lines again of what I'm thinking. This is just my opinion of what I think the line should be, and it's kind of based off of what the Flames have been doing so far. So we've got the top three lines are pretty set, in my opinion. I mean, you could maybe jumble some things around, and maybe I can work some things around with this, but we've got the Huberdeau line, which would have Pospisil and Mantha, sort of as like that scoring line. At least they should be a scoring line. Hopefully they can, especially Huberdeau, hopefully he can kind of get back to being one of the, a top line premier player in the league here, and kind of drive the offense from there. Then you've kind of got that secondary scoring line, but also can be kind of worked in as basically like a two-way forward line. Like they're responsible defensively, but also probably will be able to score, and maybe even in some people's opinions, they probably maybe could even outscore the Huberdeau line, which would be Kadri's line. Nazem Kadri's line would be with Kuzmenko and Sharon Govich. So that would be the line 2 or the line 1A or 1B, whatever, however you want to label it. And then we've got the Michael Backlund line, which is going to be the shutdown line. The line that you play against the top lines of the other team. Michael Backlund's thrived in that role as sort of like the center you want to start when you're hemmed in defensively, and you want to you kind of want to get the puck out, get it deep, and kind of prevent scoring. So Michael Backlund would be with Coleman on one wing and Zari on the other wing. So that's kind of the top 9. That only leaves 3 more spots on the roster, and there's a huge amount of guys that I could see filling that role. And that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it today, because there's not really a clear choice, in my opinion, and there's actually some surprising names coming up. So who else is left on the team right now? So Kevin Rooney is a center, so and he's good at playing fourth line sort of duties, fourth line responsibilities. He's used to not playing a ton of minutes, and he doesn't really need the development like some of the other younger players. So Kevin Rooney is almost a lock for that final fourth line center position. But I don't think he's necessarily set himself in stone as the fourth line center. And then the other guy is Ryan Lomberg, who the Flames signed this offseason. He's fresh off a Stanley Cup win. He is a very high energy, high tempo, sort of really gritty player. So he would play well on a fourth line as well. And he's a veteran, so he's not again, he's not the type of guy that needs to play a ton of minutes to develop. We kind of know what Ryan Lomberg is. He can chip in offensively a little bit, but he's more of a guy that can kind of get under the skin of other opponents and kind of make them go back on their heels by just pushing them hard with his energy, even though he's actually a pretty small guy. I think he's probably the smallest guy on the team, despite his the way that he plays. He doesn't play small, that's for sure. So those are the two guys that kind of, I think, have the lead up on who would be the fourth line. But then there's a ton of other players that are making a case for themselves right now to be on this opening, starting roster for the Calgary Flames. Matt Coronado, he has a hell of a shot. He's the type of guy that I could see getting into an upper echelon of scoring, at least maybe on the Flames team, maybe not on every team, that has some heavy scoring power, some more talented scorers. Maybe potentially he wouldn't be the top scoring guy on a really deep team, but for the Calgary Flames, we could always use more scoring, so Matt Coronado has that shot. He has a really, really good shot, and he's playing really well this preseason. He's scored quite a few times already, so he's really making a case for himself to be on the team. The other guy that is making a hell of a case to have him start up with the Flames is Sam Honzek. So Honzek, he was drafted last season, so not this season, like not the most recent draft. I think it was the one draft before. The first pick that the Flames took was Sam Honzek, and he had a really bad, sort of first year in professional hockey because he got injured a bunch and played badly or something like that. So at least what I've heard, I've never seen the guy play in junior or anything like that, but I've heard that he didn't really have a great first year after his draft, and so it's really good and refreshing to see him playing well this preseason. He's making a huge case for himself to be, starting up with the NHL roster. He's leading the team in scoring over the preseason. He's playing almost every single game, and he's getting involved in every single game. He's a big dude too. I think he's 6'5" or something like that. So he's got size, and it looks like he's added a lot of skill to his game over the last, just even since the beginning of the preseason, even since watching the Young Stars Classics in Penticton earlier this year. I feel like he's already added a lot more skill to his game. So Honzek and Coronado, both those two guys sort of have made strong cases to be with the NHL this year. I think Honzek has played some center before, but I don't think he's really primarily a center. So he would be on the wing. Matthew Coronado, I think he shoots right, so he would probably want to be on the right wing. I don't know if Lomberg is a right wing or a left wing. And also, on top of all this, with all this being said, I don't really know if it makes sense for a guy like Coronado or Honzek to be playing on a fourth line. Maybe they need more minutes to develop better. So one can make the argument that it would make more sense for them to play AHL time and get, play a ton of minutes, just play like on their first line playing in the AHL and not make the NHL. But they're playing so well, so maybe they should make the NHL. Who else are we talking about? Well, there's Jacob Pelche. I talked a little bit about him in another episode earlier this week. And the trouble with Jacob Pelche is he hasn't really stood out to me at all ever since his first season. So his first season was a couple of years ago. He came into the lineup under that Daryl Sutter coached team, and he played really well. He really popped for the team that year, and a lot of people wanted to see a lot more of him. But with Daryl Sutter's sort of old school coaching ways, he didn't get that much NHL time in his rookie season. But the games he did get into, he made an impact. His second season, he got injured right away at the very beginning of the year and had to rehab some sort of shoulder injury throughout most of the season. So he missed a lot of time. And then once he came back, he didn't really seem like the same guy that he used to be. It almost seemed like he was playing scared or something like that. And for that, unfortunately for Jacob Pelletier, it kind of seems like his stock has fallen now, because from his first rookie season, it looked like his trajectory was going well. It looked like he could be an integral part of the team for the next few seasons moving forward. But unfortunately, yeah, it seemed like those injuries kind of hampered his progress. Now, the difficulty with Jacob Pelletier right now is that he's no longer waiver exempt. So I talked about this again, and then like I said in another video, he would have to be waived before getting sent down to the minors. So if he doesn't get to play in the NHL this year, there's a chance that the Calgary Flames might lose him for nothing. Another team could just sign him just because of they're sending him to the AHL roster. So that puts a little wrench into the roster creation as well. Perhaps they could start Jacob Pelletier with the NHL, and even though this would be pretty hard on his development some more, maybe sit him out for some more games, just keep him as like an extra forward, a 13th forward, and have him just kind of ride the bus, ride the bench, and wait until there's an injury or some other reason to sit somebody else out and get him into the lineup that way. Maybe that's an idea to deal with Jacob Pelletier. I don't really know. Maybe that's the only solution to dealing with the Jacob Pelletier thing. But those are the top three sort of prospects right now that are making cases to get NHL time this year. Again, I'm not sure if any of them really fit well on the fourth line, so I don't know what the Flames are going to do with this lineup here, but it's really exciting, really fascinating stuff. There's a bunch of other guys too. Like I'm just talking about those guys for now, but I'm gonna go through some other names as well. There was Sam Morton. Sam Morton has been playing really good hockey ever since he came to the Calgary Flames organization. I think he was some sort of like college guy before, playing in college, so he's not young. He's not like, he's still young, but he's not like an 18 or 19 or 20-year-old player. I think he's a little bit older than some of these other guys because he played 4 years of university or college hockey in the United States. But when he joined Calgary this year, he went straight to the AHL Wranglers and immediately made an impact. He was scoring goals, kind of leading the charge, giving some energy. He did well for them in the final few games of the season last year for the Wranglers, and he's been playing really nice this year as well for the Calgary Flames in the preseason. I've liked what I've seen out of Sam Morton, and there's some upside to his usability as well, because I think he could be a strong penalty killer. I think he could be a strong fourth liner, okay with playing a little bit of a limited number of minutes, and is sort of a utility knife in that way, that he's not sort of just slotted to be a scorer or like needs offensive zone starts or something like that. So Sam Morton's an interesting name. And he's pretty high on my personal depth chart in terms of who should get NHL time. We also have Adam Klapka. Adam Klapka. Oh my goodness, Adam Klapka. Adam Klapka. This guy is massive. He's 6'8", 250 pounds. I'm just making this up. I don't know the exact stats, but he's a huge body, and he's playing with more authority this season. We saw him play a couple games last year, 2 or 3 games, and he seemed like he was kind of just dipping his toe in the water, metaphorically. But this season, this preseason, it seems like he dove head first right into it. So what I mean by that, guys, is he's really pushing. He's really like, trying to force his way, into the play. And, he doesn't do anything crazy, like fancy. Like he's not like a great, guy with deeks and, spin moves or anything, really fancy. But because of his size, and he's pretty, fleet-footed. He's not, he's not crazy fast or anything like that. But because of he's got that size, I saw a play that he did the other day in one of the preseason games where he broke up a play at one end of the ice with a stick lift, using his length, his reach, and then the puck turned down the other end of the ice all the way down to the other end, and he ended up getting a goal kind of right in the front of the crease there. And that's where he scored most of his goals so far this preseason, is right in front of the first 2-3 feet, right in front of the goalie, right in front of the crease. And with his size, being 6'8" or whatever the heck he is, he could be a force to be reckoned with. I've heard the one knock on him was that he kind of he doesn't play aggressive enough. Maybe he's not that much of a fighter yet or anything like that. But, if he could start being more of a fighter, which he has been this preseason, like I said, he's been playing with more authority, kind of getting more into like that rough and tumble sort of fighting role, a guy that can kind of intimidate the other team a bit more. I think that Adam Klapka might be, out of all these guys, he might even be even more deserving than any of the other players that I mentioned. I talked about Matt Coronado being a high-flying goal scorer with a great shot, but again, does he deserve to be on a fourth line? Maybe he needs to be playing on a scoring line somewhere higher up in the lineup. But a guy like Adam Klapka, I think he could score goals and kind of just be a big body and just kind of a force to be reckoned with on a fourth line. So he might deserve that spot more than anybody else. He might be able to get in there. So Klapka, I'm high on Klapka right now, guys. I think he's a really intriguing prospect, a really fascinating young player to kind of look forward to this season and see his development. Then there's even more younger players that we haven't mentioned. Walker Duehr, he's an interesting one because very similar to Jacob Pelche, he had an amazing sort of first season in the NHL. When he first came into the lineup, it looked like he had a ton of energy. He kind of, was really playing competitively, showing the other team and even his own teammates, what he's made of. And I felt like he provided a spark that the Calgary Flames needed when Walker Duehr first joined the Flames. And he instantly became a fan favorite. But ever since that rookie season, the spark is kind of gone. I haven't really noticed him. He's kind of been invisible on the ice, and I don't really hear his name much more anymore. But he could be a fourth liner. Perhaps he could do something similar like what I mentioned about Jacob Pelche as well. Maybe he could be the 13th forward and kind of sub in and out of the lineup if we need him. And then there's a few others that are intriguing. Cole Schwindt plays center, I believe. So that rises his stock. He's kind of on the bubble. He's on the periphery of NHL rosters. He's played, quite a few seasons now. So he's not super young. He's a little bit more of a veteran, but, I feel like he's been doing really well to make a case for himself. And the last guy, I wrote him down, Dryden Hunt. Also looks like a type of player that could fit in well with the Calgary Flames this season rather than playing in AHL. But probably out of all those names, he has the least the lowest chance of making this roster. But it's going to be really interesting to see who actually makes it. Again, Coronado and Honzik probably have the best cases on paper to get that shot at playing NHL. Jacob Pelche and Walker Duehr are kind of the best, or not best, but they have the most reason to be on the NHL roster rather than AHL because of the waiver wire. Rooney and Lomberg are actual veterans. I almost would consider them locks as fourth liners. So Rooney and Lomberg are probably not going to be sent down or, have to give up their spots on that fourth line. But, it'll be interesting to see. Adam Klapka, again, super interesting to see what could happen with him. I talked a bit about Honzik maybe playing center. Maybe we could put a line together with Honzik and Klapka together. That'd be pretty cool because they're both massive humans. So it'd just be cool to see a bunch of tall, huge players on the same line. And then maybe little tiny Lomberg next to them. It'd be funny. But yeah, anyways, guys, I'm just giving my thoughts and opinions. You know, I don't know how this is really going to play out, but let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to support the channel by liking and subscribing and hitting the notification bell to get more hockey TikToky in your life.